Communications. I'm very happy to give a virtual welcome today to Netzat Piric, Director of Digital Transformation and Smart City Alliance at the EU Tech Chamber, Joanna Orsavska-Odjevec, Founder and CEO of Smart Bee Club, Amelie Richter, journalist and sinologist, editor China Table at Trafo Mediatek, Nadine Soyer, owner of Virtual Team Heroes. One of the goals of the EU Tech Academy Alliance is to strengthen Europe's strategic innovation capabilities by building an interconnected community for academia, industry, civil society, and policymaking for empowering people and organizations for the complexity and challenges of the future. Let me give you a quick introduction of today's topic and agenda on digital media and technology. For those of you who participated on our monthly webinars in the past, you probably remember that we have talked a lot about leadership, entrepreneurial ecosystem, business trends and developments, social responsibility and sustainability, policy and decision-making, learnings from the pandemic, disruptive innovation for the major trends in 2022, why learning is critical for evolution, effective business learner, modern business landscape, digital excellence, and knowledge essentials in uncertainty. And in the context of digital media and technology, we always have to consider local, regional, and global perspectives. Before the introduction of the EU Tech and the participants, and to get an idea of our topic on the challenges faced in digital media, now this area of digital media and technology for today, on impact of technology on kids and education, AR, VR learning experience process, work in digital way, avoiding burnout, disinformation coming with media and tech. But let's start with an overview to the agenda. First, Ned will give an EU Tech address and mission statement. Afterwards, Joanna Orsavska-Odjevec in her keynote will present the impact of technology on education. Following this, we will have this panel discussion among the panelists, in which Amelie Richter and Nadine Soyer will participate alongside Joanna Orsavska-Odjevec. Using the given perspective from the keynote, we will expand the discussion and address solutions to cover work in digital way, avoiding burnout, disinformation coming with media and tech. Finally, we have an open question and answer sessions with you all, so you are invited to send in all your questions, comments, and remarks via the chat function in this window. Today, the panel will be facilitated by Sarah Yücel, the Director of the Academy Alliance at the EU Tech Chamber. Now I'd like to hand over to Ned. Thank you, Ned. The stage is yours.
I'm not doing that. You're on that. Okay, so let's wait for a minute. Can you hear us now?
I am back. Sorry, I couldn't unmute
worries.
myself without stop sharing. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Petra. Thank you, Serdar. My name is Ned Piric, and I'm the Director for Digital Transformation and Smart City within EU Tech. It's a great pleasure and honor to give a short EU Tech introduction today. So we started 6 years ago with the great motto and very simple mission: the technology obliges. And EU Tech is basically registered non-profit organization, with main goals, which is competitiveness, growth, and sustainability. And this is our value proposition. This is what we offer to our members. It's a free services that they are available to all our advocates. As you are attending today, digital events, we almost every day somebody in a chamber, every working day, have a webinar. So therefore, we are very active to promoting and sharing knowledge. We also do white papers, position papers, over 650 section meetings every year. And of course, we have many trade fairs, exhibitions, as well as social media programs, digital transformation program, then EU Tech Center program, and of course, investment forum SDG awards, climate action partnership, and so on. This is our structure. As you can see, it's a regional impact and tech alliance. So on regional side, we have 2 countries, 2 regions, and 2 continents. Each of these sections has a director, and each of the alliance or section has 7 board members, including 1 chair. So today, the webinar is about Academy. So it's an impact alliance, as you can see. So becoming a member of EU Tech means that you actually sign up with one of these alliances, but you also become a member with all alliances. So you can interact with basically every alliance or every section with EU Tech Chamber. So we, as I mentioned before, we do plus 200 webinars per year, to be precise, 228, more than 450 working groups, 10 exhibitions. So that generates over 50,000 registered and close to 700 keynote speakers. So it's really lots of interaction, and that's what we are very proud of. So please connect with us on EU Tech Forum, where you're going to be available to access to all alliances. It's advanced and multifunctional platform developed by EU Tech for basically effective and wide range business expansions and board profiling. Stay connected with us. Please sign up. So each week we send the update for advocate members, supporters, partners for upcoming events, webinars, programs, and anything interesting that is going on with the chamber. Stay in touch with us. Stay in touch with Serdar as director for Academy section. Feel free to get in touch with me. And that's all from me. I wish you a great webinar. Remember, technology obliges, and have a wonderful day. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Nad, for introducing EU Tech and the Chamber's aims, as Nad and Petra before have mentioned. The Chamber wants to achieve specific targets. The European Technology Chamber is a network of people knowing from many perspectives what technology is and how to deal with technology. If we take this seriously, we have to bring together the relevant stakeholders. So let me introduce to you all Joanna Ossowska-Rodziewicz, our keynote speaker today. Joanna Ossowska-Rodziewicz, founder and CEO of edutech company Smart Bee Club, providing educational kits powered by augmented reality, co-founder and COO in Fibaro, an IoT company producing advanced wireless smart home devices, acquired by NICE SPA in 2018. Advisory board member in Social Impact Alliance, an international think tank with mission to facilitate more informed international and impactful giving in Central and Eastern Europe, board member of Women in Tech Commission Alliance in EU Tech Chamber. And in terms of education, she got her MBA at Poznan University of Technology and BA in Finance at WSP in Poznan, and doctoral studies at the Warsaw School of Economics, executive MBA from the Aalto University School of Business in Helsinki, and the WSP University in Poznan, an exponential innovation program organized by Singularity University in Silicon Valley. Joanna, it is our great pleasure to have you here today. It is now the time to share your ideas with us. The stage is yours, Joanna.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Serdar, for having me here. I'm really glad that I can be a part of this webinar. Do you see my presentation just to
yes.
check?
Yes, Joanna.
Perfect. So, as it was mentioned, good morning again. My name is Joanna Sowska-Rodziewicz, and I would like to say all the best from the in regards to Children's Day, because today we are celebrating a Children's Day in Poland, and we are children after all. So, all the best. My name is Joanna Sowska-Rodziewicz. As it was mentioned, I am the founder and the CEO of Smart Bee Club, and Smart Bee Club is the company that created and designed immersive STEM programs for children.
Sorry, Joanna, just may I interrupt? I sometimes I hear a background noise, but now it is better, I guess.
Okay.
And you stopped your sharing your screen. I understand.
I think something has happened with the
Yes.
presentation. Maybe I will turn off the web camera, then it will have some more.
I would like,
Is
but
it
you can try again sharing your presentation and then you're sharing your camera. But maybe I will remove myself from the camera to give you more bandwidth on the server. We see
So-
your screen, but not the slide yet.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
here.
see.
Okay.
The presentation stopped sharing.
Okay.
I don't know why.
You can please, yeah, maybe because of the server issues, but you can retry.
I'm retrying, but it's not coming. Maybe you can on your side turn on the presentation, or maybe I will make
Just
the
give
default
me
one.
Yeah, just a second. I will
Just definitely-
try for you. Yeah, I will try.
I will take the presenter again because something has
Good.
changed. Right,
Please.
give a second.
Okay, sure.
Oh, perfect.
Now we
it's
see it. Perfect. Please,
perfect.
please.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So as I mentioned before, my name is Joanna Sowska-Rodziewicz. I am the founder and the CEO of Smart Bee Club. Smart Bee Club is the company that provides well-designed STEM experience for children K-12. What we have prepared, these are the scientific kits powered by augmented reality. The company is placed in Poland, in Poznań, and we are on the market since the end of 2019. But we are here to talk about kids and technology. So, growing access to technology and rapid internet boom since the 90s, as well as the speedy expansion of mobile technology, and on the other hand, declining cost in the recent years, have introduced a new interaction avenue and communication factor that plays an increasingly important role in the relationship among parents, teachers, and students. The current generation is the first one that has been known as digital natives since birth, because these are individuals that are born at the turn of 21st century. And this generation is known as digital natives. Well, the term digital natives often is contrasted with that as digital immigrants. And digital immigrants describes the generation that encountered digital means and technological advances in some later point in their life. The problem is that with students being digital natives, while parents and teachers are often digital immigrants, one wonders how the relationship among parents, children, and teacher is now filtered and regulated through technology and media use. In our modern tech-infused society, it seems like children are practically born with their smartphones in their hands. Probably many of you have seen toddlers in their strollers, sitting and casually tapping and swapping on their parents' digital devices like pros. And no one wonders while seeing teens walking around with their own smartphones. Well, we have to face it. The technology is here and it is here to stay. And we, as the parents and as the teachers, are responsible for deciding how and when to introduce a technology to their children. So, according to American Academy of Pediatrics, it's recommended that children not be exposed to any technology before 2 years of age. Indeed, there are countless articles regarding the harmful effect of exposing children to technology at the very young ages. It's connected with the brain development, sight development, and also emotional intelligence development. However, the AAP acknowledges that not all tech is bad in early age. For example, a good example is a video chat. For example, using an iPad or for FaceTime, it's a fantastic way for children to keep in touch with living far away family members or deployed fathers. However, if you introduce your child to technology in earlier age, the AAP suggests to keep it only on high quality educational programming and to watch with your children and help them to understand what they are seeing. We need to resist the urge, which is quite difficult sometimes, to use tech as a babysitter. In regard to preschoolers, so age 2 to 5, you should consider limiting the screen time usage to an hour maximum daily. Again, we need to make sure that the kids are watching, that you are watching along with your kids, so you can guide your kids as they process the information and the way they're absorbing it. While children hit the elementary school, so the ages 6 to 10, you may consider allowing a little bit more screen time. Since this is around the time kids tend to become more attached to the technology, it's crucial to set some ground rules before the patterns become embedded. Many families decide to create a kind of tech contract to make it easier for children to know what is expected of them and what are the consequences for breaking the rules. It's also not surprising that in teen years, kids' tech use increases dramatically. According to TechCrunch, the average age of getting on smartphone for teenagers is 10.3 years old. And the responsible tech use by children at this age is more important than ever. So please continue with the family technology contract, but you may also add some new sections to it, such as no texting during driving or sending compromising videos or photos of themselves to other people. The kids and the education, the role of the teacher has changed dramatically due to influence impact of technology. Digital natives are nowadays taught and brought up by digital immigrants. And how to do with it then? It seems to me that after the digital singularity, there are now two kinds of content, the legacy content and the future content. The legacy contents includes reading, writing, arithmetic, logical thinking, understanding of writings and ideas of the past. So actually all which we have in traditional curriculum. And it's of course still very important, but it's form a different era. Some of those contents, such as logical thinking, will continue to be important, but some, perhaps like Euclidean geometry, will become less. The future content is to a large extent, well, not surprisingly, digital and technological. But while it includes software, hardware, robotics, nanotechnology, maybe genomics, it should also include ethics, politics, sociology, languages, and other things that go with that. The future content is extremely interesting to today's students. But how many digital immigrants are prepared to teach it? Well, someone once suggested to me that kids should only be allowed to use the computers in school that they have built themselves. And actually, I think it's a brilliant idea because it's really doable from the point of view of students' capabilities. But the problem is, who would teach it? As educators, we need to be thinking about how to teach both legacy and future content in the language of digital natives. The first involves a major translation and a change of methodology. The second involves all of that, of course, plus content, new content, and thinking. Actually, it's not clear to me which is harder, learning new stuff or learning new ways to do old stuff. Well, I suspect the latter. So we have to invent, but not necessarily from scratches, the way of transferring the knowledge. Adapting materials to the language of digital natives has been already taking place in some countries more quickly, in others slowly. But my own preferences for teaching digital natives is to invent computer games to do the job, even for the most serious content, like quantum physics, for example. Let's discuss right now the positive and negative effects of using technology by kids. One of the most important, in my opinion, positive impacts of the technology on kids is the fact that it enhances the learning. Over the past few years, technology has become integrated into the classroom to enhance learning experience for children. Technologies such as Apple TVs, smart boards, and even 3D printers are now incorporated into educational lessons to boost collaboration and to engage students into the learning process. With increased collaboration in the classrooms, teachers and students have increased creativity, and project-based opportunities make academic instructions more meaningful. The other pro for using technology by kids is the issue that it fosters problem-solving skills. I wonder how many of you have heard the term survival mode? Probably at least a few, and probably those who have children, because it's a gameplay function in many kids' video games where the player is tasked with staying alive as long as possible to outlast the opponents. With these types of technologies, kids must work independently to achieve a specific goal. In the process, they are posed with different types of roadblocks and challenges. They must learn to navigate and overcome. In turn, they will be encouraged to come up with their own problem-solving skills in solutions when facing real-life issues, such as homework trouble, disagreements with friends, or personal hardships, as well as technology-based obstacles as well. The third, and in my opinion, one of the most important pros for using technology by kids is the issue that develops future technological leaders. Well, it's a common knowledge that our future lies in many of today's emerging technologies. In the years to come, technical skills will become more and more important in our workplace. One of the greatest benefits of exposing kids to technology is the fact that they will be prepared to jump into a pool of available high-paying tech jobs. But of course, there are some negative effects of using technology. One of the most significant, especially which was quite visible during pandemic times, is the fact that it diminishes relationship and social skills. As children use mobile devices more and more, they are more apt to be virtually connected with their families and friends, rather than spending time together physically. They are more apt to text, chat on social media, or connect through online gaming than actually meet in person. The other fact that is highlighted by AAP, it's the influence of technology on health. The other use of mobile devices can be harmful to children's health as they use more mobile devices and less physical activity they do. As children spend more of the time in front of their screens, usually sitting on the couch, the less time they spend outside playing, running, so in fact, burning of calories. Over the time, those habits can lead to significant weight gain and other associated health problems. And finally, one of the negative effect of using technology, and it doesn't only apply to kids, also to the adults, is the fact that it reduces sleep quality. A study from AAP found that children and adults who use media before bedtime were two times more likely to not get enough sleep during the night. What is interesting, even further, having access to a media device in their sleeping environment, even if the device was not being actively used near bedtime, was also associated with an inadequate amount of sleep. We must remember that children under age of 13 typically require between 11 up to 14 hours of sleep. Sleep is immensely important, especially for children, because it promotes growth, it helps heart health, affects weight as well, and increases attention span and have influence and boosts the learning process. But why technologies is inevitable? We need to agree that, according to Oxford University researchers, about 37% of jobs will vanish in the next 25 years, especially jobs that are connected with processing of the information. So all the jobs like analytics or even lawyers or medical doctors can be soon replaced by AI. We only miss right now the content that have the content which will transform the entire process. So minding that, we need to already prepare kids and equip them with the future work skills. The future work skills are creativity, emotional intelligence, and also critical thinking. One of technologies that actually support development of those work skills is virtual and augmented reality. Those two technologies are about to change learning into immersive and interactive learning experience. How they can help in education? First of all, they help students to make learning more entertaining. So the learning is based on gamification and interactivity. It actually helps students to engage a little bit more and more engaged, engage a little bit more and more focused while learning difficult topics. Apart from that, it also enhances creative thinking and causes fewer distractions. In the end, it also fosters collaboration. And finally, nowadays we can see that quite often VR and AR, or mixed realities, is used for practical training in enterprises. What are the predictions for development of those technologies? So according to the researchers, in this year, the AR and VR headsets are about to revolutionize and change the approach to trainings, especially in such sectors like logistics or other hands-on work. It's also expected that smart home-based AR application will become commonly used in B2C sector, so by customers. Within 3 years, education is about to change completely. It's expected that AR and VR will overtake the education process thanks to gaming-based possibilities. It's also the moment when the digital natives will become teachers. So actually, from this time, the digital natives will be teaching the digital natives in the same language, I would say. And in the end of 2013, it's expected that actually AR and VR will replace mobile and desktop technology. Actually, in my honest opinion, I can wait till this moment. It might be really exciting. So as for me, it's all I wanted to tell you. The fact is that technology nowadays is developing at a very, very fast pace. But we need to acknowledge that it will never expand at such a low rate as now. So I know it's really challenging to accept, but the world is changing at a very right pace right now, driven by science and technology. And we need to create a safe space for our children and students and allow them to develop and grow with the use of modern technology. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Joanna, for your keynote indeed sharing these comprehensive insights. And now we know more than before and what we need to do. I'm sure many of us have had some idea on this introduction to the impact of technology on education for kids especially, but for all of us, I understand. These are main aspects of organization, collaboration, and responsibility. And what she has given is an excellent idea to the positive impacts and negative effects of using technology by kids, as well by others too. And technology in education, why it is necessary, pros and cons, and immersive learning experience with AR and VR, and the stages and the coming years, what is waiting for us. So although there started a that we can start a discussion in the chat, I guess it is now a perfect time to integrate Amelia and Nadine Soye in our discussion. Amelia Richter and Nadine Soye, you are welcome to the stage, and then we will be continuing with you. Thank you for showing up. And but before we start with our panel talk, I would like to introduce them to all of you. Amelia Richter is a German journalist and sinologist, and she was working as a foreign correspondent for the German press agency in Sydney, Mexico, and Strasbourg. For the professional briefing China Table, she is now focusing on the relations between the EU and China. And very comprehensive topic and area. And Nadine Soye has been a management consultant since 2005 and has many years of experience in large enterprises and in well-known management and IT consultancies. She's passionate about how technology is changing the way we work and think, and which digital skills and mindset are required. Her mission is to help companies, managers, and teams, and today ourselves, to succeed in the digital work environment and to accompany the changes there. This includes new ways of working and leadership approaches, skills and competencies for digital working and the right use of tools. And dear audience, at this point, I'd like to give a general note again and invite you all to share with us your questions. I don't see Joanna anymore, but you're also welcome to show up, Joanna. And please, dear audience, you can share with us your questions or comments about the keynote or around our theme today, digital media and technology. You can please send questions at the Q&A section of this meeting room, top left, public chat, you see. And later, we will pick up some questions even during the panel to discuss among our panelists. Please do not wait until the end of the panel to send your questions. You can do it anytime starting from now. Now, let's start our panel with you, Amelia and Nadine, including some additional ideas, of course, from Joanna. Come to the first talking point. In the keynotes, we learned the impact of technology on education for kids, but perhaps we can continue with the work in digital way, avoiding burnout and disinformation coming with media and tech. All are crucial topics, especially during days. Amelia and Nadine, the first questions I would like to address to you first. All the panelists are representatives of international media, business, and consultancy. From your experience about the digital media and technology, Amelia, is disinformation a big problem for media in digital times? And the question to Nadine will be, what are the strategies to avoid burnout from information overload and too much online time? Indeed, more about, I think, skills of knowledge workers. And the question to Joanna will be how social media is reshaping today's education system. But maybe we can start with you, Amelia. What is disinformation and why is it a big problem? Please.
Sure. Good morning from my side, first of all. And thank you for that very important question. We have to look at what we are talking about. Disinformation is usually false information that is shared intentionally to cause harm. And it's a subset of what we know as propaganda. And it is spread deliberately to deceive people. So to tell facts that are just fake. Examples for that are the disinformation campaigns that we saw that coming from US President Donald Trump. For example, about the mail-in votes, COVID vaccines, or other topics like climate change that he was spreading falsehoods about. And some of the US mass media were transmitters of what he was saying without giving any context and not explaining. So in digital times, the media have to put way more context and explanations around statements of politicians and other public figures, because with social media, it is so easy to just state something without any explanation, without any questions by journalists. We saw it again best with Donald Trump, who's now banned right now from Twitter, but he could just tweet out whatever he wants without any explanation, no context at all. So disinformation is often also called fake news. I guess that's what people heard more often than disinformation, that word. And fake news are a real problem for media these days, because they can be produced so easily and spread so easily. It's not hard to also Photoshop a tweet and share it and make it seem like it's real. And for us journalists, it became even more important to double and triple check information, especially found online. We have to, when we're writing stories, we have to give statements from politicians and other people more context. We have to explain better. We have to explain more. And another problem of the fake news or disinformation in digital times for us is that the trust in media is falling, because people think they are not informed well. And that's a big problem for us and journalism in digital times. That's why it's so important to talk about media competence. I guess we're going to talk about it more a bit later.
Well, it's good to hear still trust is number one to engage with the rest of the world. Even we are experiencing the most digital times in the world nowadays. You can also give your comments on this and others, what Amelia commented, Nadine and Joanna. But what are the strategies to avoid burnout, Nadine, and about overload for staying too much online? Yes, please,
Yes,
Nadine.
thank you, and good morning from my side. I'm very happy to contribute to this panel. It's a very important topic, and it's a huge topic, and I try to think about where to start. Maybe I start with the aspects we saw before Corona, during Corona, and now. So because we can divide the world, Corona pandemic. So before Corona, I spoke with companies. They said, no, it's not. We can't do work virtually, or we maybe digital collaboration we think about in 2023, or it's not important and we can't work this way. It's not possible. And then Corona hits, and we saw people can adapt change very quickly, very quickly. And I was really astonished, and I wondered why companies said it's not possible. And then I thought, okay, people can adapt how to work virtually and in a digital way. But then we saw a lot of burnout. And then that was a sign that we are not used to it, and we never learned it, and we don't have the right digital skills. And now we are in a state, okay, we go in a more hybrid way, but we also see in a hybrid way, we have to learn how to work in a digital way and we see a lot of burnout and FOMO and all the stuff around. And I thought about why this is happening and what do people need to really be productive and not be burned out in the workplace. So what I see in companies, they try to adapt the analog way we worked before Corona to a digital way of working. And that's not possible because we need another workplace design for being productive in such a work environment. That means I can't stay online from 9 to 5, like I'm in the office. I can't pretend the office in a virtual way. So I can't log in in a chat or in a conference room and stay, oh, this is our virtual office, I stay here now until 5 o'clock. It's not possible. We should reduce screen time and also the time of availability, because we need the flexibility or being more flexible in such a work environment. In the office, I walk around, I have the colleagues, I have another environment, but working online, I'm sitting the whole day in front of my laptop and my computer and having the screen. And this is why we can't work that way. It's burning out. There are a lot of studies from the Harvard Business Schools why this is terrible for the human brain. So, and what people should learn, also companies and leaders should learn, how to design the workplace. So map your processes first. Where do we need interactions? Where do we the synchronous interactions like we have now for discussions, for innovations or meetings? And where can we work more asynchronously on our own schedule? So this should be balanced out. I can't work synchronously in human interaction 8 hours a day and have all this information overflow and then this screen time. So I also need the breaks, more breaks in when I work with digital tools and digital media. So it's not, but I see leaders, they expect that people are available the whole day when they work in a more flexible way. But you have to think about which interactions are possible or important. What do we need? What interactions do we need? Standard meetings, show fixes, decision making, innovation, and where it's very crucial to come together in a virtual room. And what can I do more in my own way, in my own schedule, that I can schedule my own breaks and reduce my screen time. And yeah, that's what we need, is a new design of the workplace. And that's also, we never learned this, how to do this. And that's also part of the digital skills. And yeah, and I hope kids will learn this too in education, to not have to feel the feeling of FOMO when I switch off, or have the feeling of, or I have to be online all the time, or I can also have a work more in a self-organized way. That's also prevent burnout. So that's a huge topic, and we saw in the companies that is much learning needed at the moment.
I'm sure Joanna and Amelia can comment in the best way, but before passing to Joanna, maybe could you please elaborate FOMO a bit for those who might not be familiar with this nugget?
Oh, FOMO, yeah, the fear of missing out. I just had it with a friend, the discussion with a friend yesterday. She said, oh, I have FOMO. And she said, oh, when I switch off, I have the fear of missing out something in the team chat, of missing out an opportunity, of being left out by my colleagues when I switch off, because the discussion is going on the team chats, and I miss something, or I miss information or knowledge I need for my work, or yeah, staying productive. So it's good to switch off. It's not. Leaders should motivate people to switch off, and also maybe we need some AI mechanism to sum up knowledge or Teams chat for the most critical points. What are the 3 points of all the chats chat we have? I mean, 90% is just the discussion, but what are the results? Maybe AI technology can help to sum up chat to results. So when I log in again, I see, oh, there was a discussion, but this is the result. So it's important for me. And when I like to, I can join the discussions, but I don't have to be on the chat, on the team chat all the time. And yeah, that's also interesting how AI can help to be productive and stay productive in the workplace. that's a lot. I think a lot of tools are coming that way.
Yeah, interesting indeed. I didn't know, but maybe Joanna can tell us how to use social media to reshape today's education system, right, Joanna?
Yeah, definitely. But I just want to comment on what Nadine
Please,
said.
please.
I believe that I am a living example of what probably most of us are the living example of online work. And in the beginning, when it all started, before it all started, I was huge opponent of home-based work because I truly believe that it's unproductive. Well, my entire knowledge about leadership totally was opposite this approach, and then it happened. We need to adjust. Everybody, most of us went online. Actually, the entire my company went online as well. And for the first, I would say 2-3 months, I was really delighted because the productivity really increased. The people were not working maybe from 9 to 5, but they were doing their work in a much faster pace. I felt that they were more focused and they were more motivated and enthusiastic about the work. But after a quarter plus minus, it disappeared. I've noticed that the people were lacking, well, their regular interpersonal interactions. And finally, after this entire pandemic finished, if it finished, but let's say it did, we introduced hybrid work environment. So part of the week the people are online, and the other part are meeting with each other. And I can say it works much better than before pandemics, because on those 3 days when they are working online, they are really focused. And on the other hand, they have those 2 days when they can interact, exchange ideas, and actually be more, it actually supports the generic human needs for the socialization. So that's it. So that's what I wanted to share. And I also wanted to mention that the good solution which I introduced to set my limits for technology use is turning off push information, because the push information are bombarding us from every side, like push information from magazines, like push information from emails, from meetings, for different news that are appearing online, and thousands on that. And you're being constantly a little bit irritated, a little bit stressed, and not all the time online, because you cannot actually avoid the urge to just to look on it. So when I turn off the push, it really helped me to, I think, to be more focused even during everyday existence. But going back to the questions you asked me, Serdar. So how the social media are changing the education system? Well, I believe that when it comes to social media, schools tend to adopt different positions. In general, there's a general consensus that when it comes to sharing information, to organizing the school tasks. But on the other hand, the schools blame social networking for lack of attention of students during the classes. But on the other hand, it's quite difficult to fight the technology. So an increasing trend of adopting social media in schools is starting to show. We need to understand that Facebook, and admit actually that the Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and other social media platforms help launch hyper-connected, globalized community, exposing us all to brand new ideas and concepts at a simple click of a button. So it enhances the collaboration after all. So the bottom line is that the social media is the big part of our everyday life, and there's rather no point of keeping it away, even from the education process. School, college, and university staff should be encouraged to make use of this technology for student and parent community. Well, I believe that the benefits are obvious and inevitable, so we need to accept it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Joanna. So I see many the questions on the public chat you can also review. But before asking some other questions that I really appreciate to get your comments, can I get back to you, Amelia, about trust? This is something maybe you can explain us more, because trust is more human, right? But we are now speaking about tech and media, social media, more online, more uh, independent of human side. So, but he's still here, which I'm really happy to see that, to hear that being human and having trust is still the base. Would you like to give some more about this, how to use this trust, or how to base on trust to develop more media and tech to use to our benefit, etc.?
Well, thank you for that question. I mean, first of all, trust, of course, it's very valuable. Of course, it's precious for our work, because when people think that what they are reading or what they're hearing, podcasts, whatever, is they cannot believe it, it's very bad for news production. I mean, like we saw it again in the US, unfortunately, the whole discussion, or like everywhere, about fake news, and how, especially in social media, we have very, very toxic discussions about it. Not having trust in the news is it's trust in the news is crucial for democracy in our world, and that's why it's so important. Because when people think they're constantly lied to, that the media are fed by the government, and like all those theories that often circulate in some circles on social media, it's very bad for our work. And I mean, I'm working in journalism for quite some time now, I think for 12 years, and it started with in a less digital world. And since then, we get more questions about how do you work, where do you get your information from? Because online, you often hear it also in the friend circle, online I read this and that. It is hard to prove where information on the internet is coming from. And that's why it is important that the audience has trust in special, or like in news outlets, and they know where they are getting the information from. And when we talk about technology, media, and trust, I think the whole concept doesn't really change with the outlet and how you generate news. It's a thing about trust in news in general. It doesn't matter if you bring the news there through virtual reality, augmented reality. It is still about people trusting into what they are reading coming as information from that news outlet. And of course, virtual reality, augmented reality have many great chances to bring news closer and more immersive to the audience. It is it's very niche. It's not very common, because of course augmented reality, okay, with the phone is easier, but virtual reality is just still a very niche product when it comes to information, like daily news information. So there are many chances, because I personally think that virtual reality for news is super interesting. I mean, when you could technically maybe be transported, I don't know, to see news firsthand around you in 3D is way more impressive than just like reading the sentence on the screen on a piece of paper. So I think there are many great things coming in that area, but it does not change anything about the trust. If people think the information that I get from news outlets are maybe wrong, it's very hard to work.
Thank you, Amelia, and Nadine and Joanna, for sharing your perspectives to the current situation of the discussed form of the digital media and tech. For the next topic, I would again appreciate the ideas from from you all, and then Amelia, Nadine, and including some additional ideas from Joanna, of course. There are many barriers to learning through digital media that vary between countries and regions. The framework conditions must be designed to fulfill the promise of the tech. And Nadine, speaking of the digital workplace, what do you think is the necessary mindset shift in companies? Still, we are talking about this for many years, but for staying productive and reducing stress in the digital workplace. And then I will ask you on how COVID pandemic impacted on teaching and learning process. We need to know more about this. And also then Amelia, would you like to tell us what kind of disinformation can you see coming from China? This is also important, in particular these days. But who wants to be the first to share any thoughts on these aspects? Maybe we can start with you, Nadine, this time.
Yes, of course. Mindset shift, that's nothing new. We also have this in the analog workplace, but it's still a shift that performance is based on the results and goals and not based on working time. So not being in the office like from 9 to 5, or the competition among employees who is longer in the office or who works longer. We had this before Corona. Especially working in a consultancy business, when you have consultants, the consultant who works after 10 p.m. makes the career. So it's more result based, and that's also mind shift. Mind shift for leaders. They have to learn to set the right goals with their employees, and then really measure the results. And just say, this is the results, and I don't mind when you do this work, you have to deliver these results. So then I have really my own productive schedule. And when it comes to the workplace on a digital way of working, we have more individual preferences. So I have my productive time in the morning, and other people have the productive time in the evening or in the afternoon. So my not productive time is in the afternoon. So I do most stuff in the morning, early in the morning. I wake up early. Then I have finished my work, which needs not a focus until 1 p.m. So because then I can do some admin stuff in the afternoon. So I can have more my individual schedule, and I can or bring my individual preferences when I have kids or when I have other private stuff. So I can balance out more my time. I can integrate more my life and work. Work-life integration will be a very huge topic in the future workplace. Also have to learn how to have the balance then, to not being overworked. And also very practical approach for leaders on teams, just map your processes. What work are you doing? What tasks do you have? Where do you need interactions with the team? And where can you have more the individual schedule? And what are the interactions we need each other? And that's what Joanna said. I find it very interesting now in the hybrid workplace. You have focus time. Now you have 3 days focusing at your own schedules to deliver the results. And then maybe 2 days coming together for meaningful interactions to bring to problem solutions, moving things forward for innovation. And I think what's also was a problem for working digitally 100% is shifting from one working style, working at my own, shift during the day, and the next hour I have interaction, and then I shift back working at my own, shifting back interactions. I think that's also what's very stressful for people. So when I have focus time, 2 days interactions, and then other days for my own schedule, then I think that's having this focus and not shifting. It's also for multitasking, shifting from one task to another task. It's very stressful because you need onboarding time for yourself. And I think this is very what makes the hybrid workplace very more productive than the 100 virtual workplace, having this focus time. But really map your processes and discuss with the team what interactions do you need, When do we have this? What tools do we have? Availability, switching off notifications, and also for the leaders, ask your people what individual preferences they have and what they need.
Thank you, Nadine. And what do you say, Joanna, after pandemic? Hopefully, it is over already, or soon will be. About the impact on teaching and learning process. Anything really changed radically? What do you say?
Yeah, definitely. The COVID pandemics heavily affected the education system, and actually, it's regardless of grade level. All over the world, the main effect of the pandemic at the higher education was to trigger a transition from on-site learning to online or hybrid system. And actually, it was really difficult because within just a week, actually, most of the schools had to adapt to this huge change in teaching and learning methods. And the beginning was hard because educational system, most of education system are focused on this legacy content I mentioned during my presentation. And just in the one moment, the teachers were forced actually to look for the digital tools and ways how to present knowledge in a totally new way. And it was challenging, but it happened. The results of the research after pandemic was research made by EU, and it showed that actually after the pandemic, almost half of the teachers and actually the parents are still want that the online learning would be part of the online process. Maybe not entirely online, but in the hybrid process. But they believe that it might be quite efficient. Of course, it depends on the grade level, because for the younger kids, it's much better for to keep up the real interactions. But for the higher level, it's really quite effective. So as I mentioned, there were also some cons in regard to online learning. Teachers had to find a way and change the way how they were teaching. And during this pandemic period, many students, although many students have computers, internet connections, and so on, there were some problems in regard to connection, to appearing on the classes, because someone told that the connection is broken, but they cannot hear, and it was the method to avoid the regular learning. But on the other hand, and this is I believe that this is the point and the biggest issue to overcome why we want to introduce the online learning on the regular basis. This is the point. And also what is the highlight after the COVID, which was revealed, was the problem with evaluation of the student work. Because the teachers wasn't prepared yet, but on the other hand, different systems, thanks to pandemic period, different systems appeared to help the grading process and the assessment process to overcome much more effective.
Thank you, Joanna. And Amelia, Nadine can also add comments, anything if you have. But before maybe the next questions, Nadine, I understand setting productive times is so crucial. But though you have given some examples, and since you are providing consultants on this too, I'm sure you have some results from your projects, right? So do you see some real results as a result of some improvements as a result of setting productive times according to the individual needs or group needs, etc.?
Yes, I see companies doing better and others
Good to
not.
hear.
it really depends. In a project, when you work on project, the mindset is more digitally than in the frontline workers. I mean, I have to think what workplace I have. When I have the blue collar worker, it's very difficult to have the digital workplace or more the flexibility. But when you have the white collar workers working in administration or having their work where it can shift to a digital way of working, yeah, then when we really think about the schedule and design the workplace that people are people feeling involved. That's the main issue. They would like to be asked and they would like to be involved, and then we see that the digital way of working can be very, very productive. Or when they set a team agreement within the team, the way we're working, how we use the tools, and how we interact and connect with each other. But that should be working bottom up, and you can't give that top down as a company agreement to the people. So people will be left out, and then they said, "Oh, I forgot other preferences," and it's all about preferences, and they will leave the company. We also have the lot of people can just today people can choose the company where they would like to work, and the good the well-educated people. And so they say, okay, the workplace is not about my preferences or can't bring in my preferences or my individuality, then I will leave the company. And that's what we see more and more in the workplace. And that's why companies should think about how to design the workplace well and to involve the people, and not giving any policies or hybrid workplace policies top down to the people. Just involve the people, ask the people, what do you need? So that people also see a purpose in the workplace to stay in the company. And we
Thank
see
you.
that company which do this can retain the talents and the people more than the companies who just don't think about it, or just give it bottom up or top down.
Thank you, Nadine. Maybe Joanna can also comment on this, bringing together with the next question I will ask about your experience, Joanna, maybe from your company too. And thanks, Amelia, Nadine, and Joanna. That's an interesting way of looking at it, indeed. And a final question regarding the topic, digital media and technology, to each and every one of you. Maybe, Joanna, how does technology influence academic achievement? But you are also welcome to comment the last topic of Nadine, because you are a business owner and women in tech, so you can also combine your answer. And then again, another question to Amelia might be, how can you protect yourself from the information flood as a person who works in media? I really want to understand this, Amelia. And how can AI help in corporate learning? And then this will be also good to understand. This will be good to understand. And yes, please, Joanna, this time, would you like to start about academic achievement?
One second, I was something was.
Sure. About influence, tech influence in academic achievement, etc.
Yes, thank you for this question, because it's a really interesting one in regards to what we are actually doing right now as the company. We are in the process of research regarding how the application of augmented reality influence understanding of the topic, of the content. We created augmented reality cards for the kids in K8 for physics. And we actually were testing those cards on two groups of children, one which is not using the cards and the other that is learning with those cards, supported by those cards. And actually the results showed that application of technology increased immensely the understanding of the knowledge, first of all, because physics is quite challenging for all of us, and especially for kids as well in the beginning. But the concept of and the possibility of seeing, because augmented reality is about the seeing, and different phenomena, different in 3Ds with the full explanation, help them to understand it much better. It also influenced the research show that it also influenced the creativity of those kids that took part in this research. What is quite interesting, it also decreased the absenteeism. So there was a lower dropout rate from the class. The motivation during the class was much. They were much more engaged, and they were collaborating with each other. So actually, it clearly shows that the academic achievement can really increase. But what is the most important for me, it's the fact that the understanding of the knowledge in such a, I would say, really challenging and hard topics like physics or chemistry, that technology can really help with that. Thank you.
Thank you, Joanna. And Amelia, about the information flow as a person who works in media, what do you say? What do you tell us?
So I think many important words about that we already heard. The FOMO that was mentioned, the fear of missing out, of course, in the métier that I'm working in is very special because it's our business to not miss out on things. That's why personally, or like, I guess you can ask any journalist on this planet, FOMO is constant. It's a constant thing. Already before the pandemic, because we work with it, of course, especially when I was working with a news agency, we need to be fast. We need to be the first to push the news. So I guess I had a screen time daily on 12 hours more up on my phone, on tablet, on my laptop. During pandemic, I think I hit once my personal record of 16 hours screen time a day, which yes, is not good. It's just too much. So my personal recommendations, I think that we already heard, is switch off. It's get relaxed, get rid of your FOMO somehow. The world is it's gonna be okay if you're not online for some time. I on all my devices I have the do not disturb mode on after 9 p.m. And in the morning it only starts after 7 a.m. because I get push notifications constantly also during the night because I'm following the breaking news also from the US. So yeah, I have the not disturb mode on during night and after 9, which is very helpful. I monitor my screen time better, and if I see it's a very high number again, I really consciously push myself to put the phone away, leave it in my bag. It needs some training. I have to admit it needs some training because when I heard my phone buzzing in my bag, I don't know, 5 years ago, I was like, oh my God, I need to check it. Maybe it's WhatsApp, maybe it's this, maybe it's work, maybe it's Slack, maybe it's Teams. And now I think you have to work on yourself a bit that it is okay to miss out. And that's, I guess, the best recommendation that I can give, and that also Joanna Nadine also mentioned. So you have to be okay with your FOMO. And because I read the question in the chat about attention and media, and it's also what Joanna and Nadine, or I think it was Joanna, mentioned with the push notifications, because attention for news, it's the most valuable currency next to trust, but attention is a currency these days. And that's why media is fighting hard to get your attention. That's why there are all the push notifications. That's why there are so many channels. And what was the question? How can media attract attention? Well, they're gonna, it's gonna be more. It's gonna be shorter news, easier sentences, which also need more explanation again. And it is, yeah, it's a fight. It's a fight for your attention. And if you want to avoid that flood, just switch off your things and be okay with it. And it's gonna take some time, but I can assure you it's gonna be okay. And I'm a journalist. I work with attention. I work with not missing out, and also I'm doing okay. It's a blessing. It's amazing to switch off.
We can see it. Yeah, you really managed. Good to see this. Because we need great media people like you, Amelia, still. And please, Nadine, what about AI and corporate learning? What can you say?
I think this is a very interesting field, how artificial intelligence, big word, can help in the future to foster the corporate learning. But what we see is that, what's corporate learning? I mean, I learn during problem solving when I have a problem and I need information to solve the problem. Then I have a learning issue and then I need the right information to solve the problem. And when I go to a learning course, then I adapt this problem. So maybe I have this in 3 months. I forgot everything. And that would be great if you have AI tools who can help you in the workplace when the problem occurs and give you just the relevant information or the relevant content to solve the problem. Like you have your AI helper on your desktop, maybe you can ask like Siri, I have this problem, and then give me the relevant content from the learning platform or from the corporate learning content we have in the company. And I don't have to wait to attend a seminar or training or workshop or whatever we have. I think that then corporate learning can be very efficient, and also we also have the discussion, maybe it's a German discussion, is learning in the workplace work time or not? Or it's your personal time. When you have a seminar, it's your work time, yeah. But when we have a blended learning concept, like you have the workshop and then you have self-learning things like looking at this video or reading this PDF or whatever you have. And we also have the discussion, is this now your free time or your work time? I think it's a German discussion. So, but when you have AI integrated in the workplace, like Siri, you have the problem and then you have the relevant content when you need it. And then also the AI knows what you need. Do you need a checklist? Just check something. Or do you need a more process background? Then you have to read through something. So AI can help to search the relevant content, also give you the relevant content when you need it. And the AI, also in IT, we still have this. When you're in SAP and you have a SAP problem, for example, you have your helper and the helper knows in which SAP transaction you are and give you the relevant content or the relevant help to do the SAP transaction. Because on the technical, on the technical name of the SAP mask, we can give out the relevant content for this transaction. So that's already working like this as a performance support. But performance support can also for non-IT problems. And I think that's a very interesting field, or involving in the companies, how to use AI, like a Siri or whatever that will be.
Now I can imagine more because it helped me, your explanations, how to use indeed for the benefit, not for easiness, but getting more benefit out of our business. And I see there is a question. You commented on the mindset, but do you agree with this question from Angela on the public chat? And Angela Fagel is asking, we have all the technology for the new way of work, but it seems the corporate mindset and culture is still stuck in pre-2020. Do you agree with this, Nadine?
Which question is
It
this?
is Angela is saying that it seems the corporate mindset and culture is still stuck in pre-2020 and not developed after 2020. Still, the mindset, old mindset we have in the corporate world. Do you agree with this?
Yes, in some.
Mhm.
I think we are getting better in Germany. Before Corona, Germany was very, very behind. But when we see statistics and studies, Germany closed a bit the gap to other countries. Yeah, but still a lot of work to do.
Great. And question to you, Amelia. This is for myself because I'm trying to work on myself. So, what is your suggestion? How to work on yourself?
How to work on yourself for being better with screen time?
Yes.
Is that the
Yes.
question?
Yes.
Well, like I already said, I guess it's depending a bit on the different generations, because I'm the middle generation between the digital natives and the digital immigrants. I'm 35. I grew up without phones. I grew up without the internet, but it has a significant impact since I'm a teenager, or like in my 20s. So I think for me personally, it is way easier that I still know that it sounds cheesy, but there's a real life world that is happening outside, and I have friends, but it's also, I think, in my age group, we enjoy other things. When I compare it to my cousins who are like 18 now, it's a way different generation, and how they actually use the internet, how they use the devices, and I guess for them it is their primary way to connect with friends. That's why I guess it's different for them, or like they have different techniques to deconnect from their devices than I do. But if you want to work on yourself, I guess it all comes only back to the very radical way of put your phone away, put your laptop away, and just go outside for a nice hike or a walk in the city. Yeah, it's
I will
cold turkey.
do.
It's a bit like stopping like everything else. It's cold turkey. Just put it away and try to not think about it constantly and just switch it off.
I will. Thank you. It's summertime and
I can recommend road bike cycling. Buy a road bike.
really?
Get out 3 hours. Reset your mind. This is what I do. A racing bike, not a normal bike, a racing bike, and just pushing through. It resets
And
your
when
mind.
it comes to colleagues, because we also talked about the availability 24/7, is my colleagues now know when I go for a run, and I sometimes do it during the day because nothing is happening at work, I'm not answering on Teams. I mean, I say I'm gone now, it's 1.5 hours, and then I'm back, and in between, you have to make clear and set boundaries. You're not going to answer, you're not going to read this, it has to wait. And I think that's very important. Of course, it also depends what kind of job you're doing. I mean, if you're a surgeon, it's hard to say, like, I'm gone now, I'm not going to respond to any texts. But yeah, to set boundaries also to other people about availability. And I do the same with my friends. 9 p.m. for me is family time. And I do not respond on WhatsApp. I do not respond calls. And they get used to it. They are annoyed by it maybe at first, but they will get used to it.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The set boundaries is the most important issue here. And one more tip, apart from the turning off push notification, it's also worth to make order in your subscription, because probably you're subscribed to so many different lists that and part of it is totally unnecessary. So it also helps to limit a little bit this noise around you.
Great suggestions, great recommendations, and
What I do, maybe one tip with a newsletter, I subscribe a lot of newsletter because you have to learn a lot about topics around media and technology. So I subscribe to Meaningful newsletter, and then when I got in my inbox, I have a folder. I put it in that folder automatically, and then I take some time, 2 hour focus to read all the newsletter, then then write down the most important things I get out of the newsletter. But it's automatically in a newsletter folder, and I did some time to read through everything. Also helps to have meaningful newsletter, but don't get distracted by the newsletters.
thank you, Amelie and Nadine, Joanna, for your contribution. It's not an easy topic, and we had a very precise and tangible discussion. So I hope I haven't promised too much at my introduction, which I see from the comments on the public chat in the end. We got already questions from the public chat already responded and answered. And time has just flown by, and we're almost at the end of our talk. Let me quickly say thanks to Nat in the introduction. A very big thank to you, Joanna, for your great keynote, and big thanks to you, Amelie and Nadine, for your panel, for having shared your views in such a succinct and structured way. Not only your thoughts and insight on these topics itself and beyond, which EU Tech will honor in a specific way. Now our chairman will provide you a gift. Let's give floor to Jörg Tuchen, who is the chair of the Climate Action Alliance at EU Tech and will present a gift to you. Please, Jörg.
Thank you very much, Serdar. And before I start, in order to escape from digital devices, I personally recommend grab a mountain bike, because in addition to the beauty of cycling, after some time you lose connection, because when you are high enough, there is no internet connection anymore. That's just a personal tip. But to be honest again, thank you very much, dear speakers, dear panelists, for this beautiful debate, for the beautiful discussion, for being here, for your insights, and for sharing your knowledge and your experiences. That's really highly appreciated. And as a little gesture of our appreciation, I have the honor to hand over a tree certificate to you. And that tree certificate, it has also a special meaning to me, because Serdar already introduced me. I'm the chair of the Climate Action Commission, and my real life profession is also very closely related to climate and helping other companies behave 1.5 degree compatible with their business models. And obviously trees have a lot to do with that. So we do, and that when I say we, EU Tech is planting a tree for every speaker, every panelist, for the more than 200 webinars we do each year. And this tree, which you hopefully can see, has been planted for Amelie Richter. So thank you very much, Amelie, but thank you very much also to the others, the other speakers and panelists. And having said that, I hand back to you, Serdar. Wish you a great day and hope to see you again. Bye-bye.
And thank you, Jörg. And finally, thanks to you, dear audience, for your time and the great questions. And see you next time. Have a good one. Bye. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you, Amelie, Joanna, Nadine. You were
Bye.
so great indeed. Bye.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.